If you are looking for bets for UFC Mexico City, look no further. I have got you covered. How we doing, everybody? My name is Young Pasty, and they call me that because I got some super white skin. You see it here. All right. And I am here today to give you all my official bets for UFC Mexico City. I got 4 bangers coming your way. Absolutely free. That's how we do things around here. And you know how else we do things around here? We have to recap last week. Pulling the results up here right now for UFC Houston, and it was not a good week, guys. We went from a sweep to an almost reverse sweep, all right? Bet number 3 saved us. And by the way, guys, on a good note, right? Our 3-pick parlay of the week is 4 for 4 in 2026, all right? So that one's our moneymaker, all right? So, we look to make that 5 for 5, this week here at UFC Mexico City. But I'm just saying, all right, the 3-pick parlay of the week it has been consistent for us. Now, the other bets. Really, Fluffy Hernandez sold on us. That was our swing bet. We really needed him to win. I add a bet because Javier sells on us, Costa plus Hernandez, and that screws me too. So really, thank you, Fluffy. That's 2 times this year where my bets have came down to the main event, to either profit or lose, and Patty and Fluffy both ending in Y's. Anywho, screwed me. Minus 5.9781 units last week. We basically gave everything back from our sweep the week before. But we move on to UFC Mexico City this week. As I said before, 4 bangers coming your way, absolutely free. If you're new around here, let me explain things, okay? We sort these bets in confidence. So bet number 1, that's always my most confident play of the week. Then it moves on down from there. Bet number 3 is always the 3-pick parlay of the week. We'll get into that later, all right? So bet number 1, my most confident play for UFC Mexico City. Little 2-pick parlay. I love these things. Santiago Luna and Edgar Chairez, minus 162. We're putting 3.2 units on it. I know they're chalky favorites, right? But I'm confident in both of these guys to get the job done. Let's go over each fighter. Santiago Luna, he's taking on Angel Pacheco. To be quite frank with you guys, I think he's actually stepping down in competition. I think Quang Lee is a lot better than Angel Pacheco. You think Quang Lee would beat Angel Pacheco. And there's just a lot of red flags on the Pacheco side, right? Takedown defense, not the best. Super hittable. Coming off a 2-year layoff here. I mean, the age gap is crazy, 34 to 21. So, Santiago Luna's definitely got a lot more youth and, I'd say, power in his shots versus Pacheco. The only thing you could say about Pacheco is he's tough and he's lasted 3 rounds, right? And Santiago Luna, I doubted him last time. I did. I actually picked Quang Lee, to be honest with you, because I said, okay, you got to prove it to me because you're on the regional scene, your amateur career is not too large, and you're 5-0 at this point, you know what I mean? Or 6-0 at this point. So, yeah, he looked damn good against Quang Lee. He literally ran right through him. And Quang Lee has, some UFC experience under his belt. And as I said, too many red flags on the Pacheco side. A lot very hittable. Takedown defense, not good. I think Santiago Luna is live for a submission here. Very live for a submission. I think people are sleeping on that. I think everyone's seeing, all these KOs. But they, look back at his fighting past and experience. He actually has a lot of grappling experience and a lot of submission wins. And I think he does that here in this fight. Fighting at home in Mexico. So, first leg is Santiago Luna. Second leg, Edgar Chairez. Now, don't look at the record. I know 12-6. You're like, ugh, that's not very good. But, the 3 losses he has in the UFC, I guess one was Dana White Contender Series. I kind of give him some passes, right? Loses to the champ and Joshua Van. No shame in that. Loses to Tyra. Tyra is literally a title contender. He's fighting Joshua Van for the belt, so I can't give him too much grief about that either. And then his first run in Dana White Contender Series loses to Clayton Carpenter. I was a fan of Clayton Carpenter, and he was good at that point. Even his losses back then, Jesus Aguilar, Albert Trujillo, A lot of these losses, I can't give him too much grief for, but Edgar Chairez is a tough mother effer. Okay, going up against Felipe Bunes, who I don't have too much faith in, to be honest with you. Okay, I mean, he lost a decision to Rafael Esteban. Yeah, he has one win in the UFC, first round submission over Jose Johnson. I mean, he's kind of like a specialist, a submission specialist, right? Edgar Chairez ain't no dummy on the mat. And I think if Felipe starts initiating the grappling, that he's going to end up on the bottom. Edgar's going to end up on top and just going to be throwing down hammer fists and shots. Maybe even get into mountain, mess him up, and then he's just back and forth, rinse and repeat. You know what I mean? And on the feet, I think Edgar Chairez is the much better striker, really better. I think he has really solid boxing, to be honest with you. And Bunes may have some flashy, highlight KOs in the regional scene, but I'm just not very impressed with this guy. And 6 years younger actually than Edgar Chairez. Look, 3-1. I actually think you're getting some solid value on Edgar Chairez because I think he's going to run through Felipe Bunes. So, two of my most confident fighters on the card to get the job done. We put them together to complete bet number 1. Edgar Chairez, Santiago Luna, minus 162, 3.2 units. That's bet number 1 of the week. Let's go. All right, moving on to our next bet. Bet number 2. We have Ailin Perez, money line, minus 172. We're putting 2.6 units on it. I think she is going to not run through Macy Chiasson, but pretty much handle her. At least win the first 2 rounds, maybe drop the 3rd round. Ailin Perez has looked good in her UFC tenure here. And nobody can stop her, man. Okay? I will say this, though. She's a takedown or bust. All right? She is a takedown or bust. If she's not able to take down Macy Chiasson, I don't think her striking is going to be able to keep up with Macy. Macy's, long, got that reach. But Aileen's not used to that, right? She's used to being kind of the shorter fighter, and she's gone up against bigger fighters in her competition. Kel Rosa, Daria Zelezniakova, Jocelyn Edwards. All 3 of these girls are way bigger than Ailin Perez, and she was able to take them down easy. So I think she wins this fight by decision. I think she'll win the first 2 rounds by securing takedowns. I think she might not go for them or might just cruise by in the 3rd round, and maybe Macy can win and maybe try and pull off a finish. That won't happen, right? But I've just seen Macy on her back too many times against grapplers, and I trust that Ailin Fiona Perez is going to handle business in the octagon, secure her takedowns, and be, twerking after the final bell rings, right? So, takedown or bust for Ailin Perez. Am I keeping track now? I guess I am. I guess I'll keep track now, starting now. I'm 0 for 1 in takedown or bust bets this year. My last one was Torres Finney, and we saw how that went. So, Ailin Perez, bring me back to 500 on the takedown or bust here, all right? Ailin Perez money line, minus 172. We're putting 2.6 units on it. That's bet number 2 of the week. Let's go. All right, moving on to bet number 3, our 3-pick parlay of the week. And if you guys are new around here, if you have not, please click that subscribe button for me. We are on the road to 400 subscribers, so if you could, click the button. It's super easy, and it goes a long way for me. Greatly appreciate it. Now, the 3-pick parlay of the week. We find 3 good legs, put them all together to get a good number. We are 4 for 4 on the 3-pick parlay of the week this week, okay? It's been hot. It's been keeping us afloat, all right? It kept us from the reverse sweep last week, all right? So let's make it 5 for 5 in 2026 for the 3-pick parlay of the week. This is what I got for you guys, all right? Francis Marshall in the fight to start round 2, in the Chiasson versus Perez fight, and Rodriguez versus Borjas fight. Minus 138. We're putting 1.5 units on it. Let's go over each leg. Francis Marshall taking on Erik Silva. 12-year age difference. 2-year layoff for Erik Silva. Coming off an injury. Got ragdolled by TJ Brown and submitted. Just not a good look in the UFC, and the career really, I don't know, like, where's the motivation? Where's he at? What's he been doing? Francis Marshall been fighting. Francis Marshall training with American Top Team. I know he's 8-3, 3 tough losses. Santos, Dolgarian, and Gomez. All 3 of those guys are going to run through Erik Silva, okay? And where I think Francis Marshall, the biggest favorite on the card, is going to win this fight is on the mat. Erik Silva's takedown defense is not very good. And Francis Marshall, he actually has some solid grappling. We saw him in moments control Myron Santos on the mat. I think he's live for the submission easily. I know that's the shortest prop, but there's a reason for it, all right? And striking-wise, a lot more power in the hands. I think he's a lot more crisp with his striking. Erik Silva is just like, all right, bro, you're toast at this point, all right? There's a reason, again, like I said, that Francis Marshall is the biggest favorite on the card. Next, Chiasson versus Perez to start round 2. Both of these girls are durable. The only fear I have is that Perez gets a first-round submission, to be honest with you. I don't think Chiasson has any upside for a finish in the first round. But I didn't do the over in 1.5 because I think a second-round finish is actually live for these girls here. Hopefully for the Perez side because we got her in bet number 2, right? But, yeah, I don't know. I wanted to stay away from the 1.5 because something was telling me, Ailin Perez could grind on Macy Chiasson for the whole first round. Then the second round goes and does it again. Macy Chiasson's kind of tired of it. Perez, snatches up a submission early in the second round, So I think it gets there, though. Perez has fought like competition. I think it goes all 3 rounds, to be honest with you. Perez has just fought like competition to Chiasson and, was able to control them, not necessarily finish them, but at least get to the second round. And then the Rodriguez versus Borjas fight. I know Rodriguez has, mostly first-round finishes, other than maybe that exhibition fight he had with Joseph Morales, but that taught me a lot, right? He can go all 3 rounds. He has the cardio for it. He looked pretty good. And, when he goes up against a, competitor, he can't get him out of there. And I think that's what's going to happen here with Kevin Borjas. Kevin Borjas is tough. Went all 3 rounds with freaking Joshua Van and Sumadarji where he's getting pieced up. But I know his knockout loss was to Alessandro Costa, but it was in round 2. All of his fights in the UFC have made it to at least round 2, and I don't think that, Rodriguez is going to come in here and change that narrative. I like Rodriguez. I think I think the fight actually goes a distance. That's plus money. Plus money, by the way, for this fight to go the distance. Rodriguez by decision is something I'm kind of eyeing here, but I only need this fight to start round 2, and it's actually our shortest leg on the card. So the one, or not on the card, on bet number 3, So the one I'll be kind of sweating the most. So recap: Francis Marshall fight to start round 2 in the Chiasson versus Perez and Rodriguez versus Borjas fight. Minus 138, 1.5 units. That's bet number 3 of the week. Let's go. All right, moving on to bet number 4. We are rolling with Brandon Moreno and over 1.5 rounds in the fight. Minus 135. We're putting 2 units on it. If this is a trap, I've fallen directly into the trap and I have been killed because Brandon Moreno and over 1.5 is at minus 135. Only? Over a Lanier Kavanagh, who is just coming off a loss versus Charles Johnson. Never been in a 5-round fight. Facing an elusive boxer and striker, tough-chinned man in Brandon Moreno, and the former champ. I mean, I like Lanier Kavanagh. I bet on him before. I bet on him in the Charles Johnson fight, and he fumbled for me. And this isn't out of spite of that fight, right? I think Brandon Moreno is just the better fighter, right? There's levels to this game. I think Brandon Moreno is just going to outclass him. And I think he's live for a finish in round 3, 4, 5, to be honest with you. Either way, KO or submission. Because he's not a dummy on the mat. And if Kavanagh's shooting dumb takedowns, Brandon Moreno could snatch a neck up, take him down himself. He's live for a finish in those later rounds. And we just haven't seen Kavanagh in round 4 or round 5. And the way that he's fighting and all the energy that he exerts, I don't know how he's going to be looking. I think he's going to be huffing and puffing in round 4 and 5 if he's already huffing and puffing at the end of round 2 and round 3 here. So I think Brandon Moreno is, again, he's a vet. He's going to teach him a vet lesson. He's just going to outclass him. Brandon Moreno's built for 5-round fights. All right? And Lanier Kavanagh taking this fight on short notice as well. He's the 15th ranked fighter. Brandon Moreno's like, what, ranked like 6th? Like, what are we doing here? That's such a big jump. There's so many people in between those rankings that probably were more suited to take this fight. And even kind of like 3 spots up for Brandon Moreno, like 5, 4, and 3. Where y'all at? I mean, y'all could have taken this fight too, you know what I mean? So, again, if this is a trap, I'll fall right into it. But the number was just too good to pass up. Brandon Moreno, over 1.5 rounds, minus 135. We're putting 2 units on it. That's bet number 4 of the week. Let's go. All right, guys, if you made it this far in the video, just wanted to say thank you so much. Appreciate your support. If you have not yet, please click that subscribe button for me. Again, we're on the road to 400. So we're at like 365, 364 here right now. So do me a favor. Click that button for me. It goes a long way for me. Secondly, the Patreon is free. Links in the description. That's where you can see all of my bets when I place them. The odds in this video have probably changed, right? And we get in on the odds when they're good because they always sway in the opposite way, all right? Especially bet number 1. I think bet number 1's at like almost like minus 200 now at this point. But if you're in on it early and you're on the Patreon, which is absolutely free, no cost to you, I don't make any money off of it. You know what I mean? That's just where I put all my bets out when I place them. So go check it out and see what we got cooking before the video comes out. So let's have a good week this week, amigos, for UFC Mexico City. This white boy's excited. This white boy might get a little bit of tequila. Actually, you know what? My drink's Cayman Jacks, okay? That's Mexican enough for me. All right, so again, let's have a good week this week for UFC Mexico City. Let's go 5 for 5 on the 3-pick parlay of the week for 2026, and let's freaking sweep the rest of the bets. Young Pasty, out. Let's go.